Hello and a warm welcome to Advanced Audit and Assurance, your path to AAA excellence. If you're gearing up for the AAA exam previously recognized as the P7 exam, you're at the right place. In this video, we will walk through the past exam question. Get ready, we are not just studying the past exam question, we are unlocking the secrets to decoding the scenarios, finding numerous points we can make in the exam to gain marks easily, masterfully drafting answers up to the examiner standards, and skyrocketing your chances of success in the AAA exam. Stay tuned for game-changing insights that will transform your approach and elevate your ACCA journey. Let's go ahead. Requirement first. It says using the information detailed in exhibit number 2. So we have to make use of the exhibit number 2 for this part. Critically appraise the extract from the proposed auditor's report of the Goodman Group for the year ended 31st December 20x4. So we have to critically appraise. Critical appraisal is a continued continued asked question, and it's a requirement which is continuously being asked in the AAA exam. You need to focus your preparation for the AAA exam by critical appraisal of the report. It has been asked a multiple number of times in the exam. And see, it says 8 marks. So these are straight 8 marks, not so difficult, nothing like if you have good grip on the audit report, you know the contents of the audit report, you can critically appraise the audit report. It says the proposed audit report, right? So you can easily criticize the audit report if you have grip, if you have knowledge of the audit report. And these are easy 8 marks in the exam. And see, it says note, you are not required to redraft the extracts from the auditor's report. So you are not required to redraft the auditor's report extracts. You're just supposed to critically appraise. You are just supposed to criticize what is being done wrong in the report, or what is wrong in the report in the exhibit number 2. So now let us scroll down to exhibit number 2 so that we can have a look at what the report is and we can discuss what the critical appraisal should be. Now here we are at the exhibit number 2 of this question. From your earlier studies or from your earlier parts of this question, you are aware that materiality was 400,000, right? Now let us read the exhibit number 2. Assume that the audit work is now complete and the group audit report is due to be issued in the next few days. Okay, so we have to assume, it's the assumption over here, that the audit work has been completed and the audit report is to be issued in the next few days. You have been tasked with reviewing the draft auditor's report and some supplementary information which has been prepared at the end of the audit. Okay, so you have to review the draft auditor's report and some supplementary information which has been prepared at the end of the audit. Materiality for the audit of the group financial statements has continued to be determined to be $400,000. Okay, so it's the same materiality which was given in the exhibit number 1 in the previous parts of this question, and this has continued to remain the same. In relation to the audit completion issues discussed in exhibit number 1, okay, so this is in continuation with the exhibit number 1, right? So let me take you to the exhibit number 1 again, and you can have a quick go through of it. See, exhibit number 1's first told us materiality, which was $400,000. Then there was a fraud by the group finance director, right? And this fraud was for fictitious supplier invoices amounting to $40,000 for the group, right? And this was immaterial to the group financial statements as it is below the materiality level, but it is supposed to be reported to the management, to those charged with governance, because it's the finance director who is involved, right? It's the key audit personnel, key management personnel. Now there was a development cost coming in, right, of $600,000, for which we were not sure about the expenditure, that it's all capital nature or expense nature, right? And there was some sort of this agreement of the sample of the costs, right, capitalized to support documentation such as supplier invoices. There was no proper work done on this area. And then comes in that at the end it comes in with the trade receivables, which had a $500,000 outstanding balance from a customer, Hamlin Co. Right, and this was not yet confirmed from Hamlin and Co. Over here it says in the last sentence, Hamlin and Co. was included in the trade receivables direct confirmation audit procedures, whereby a sample of customers were asked to confirm the outstanding balance, but no reply was received. There was no reply from Hamlin and Co. to confirm that there was this 500,000 balance owed on them. Right? Now let us come back to exhibit number 2. We have refreshed our memory of exhibit number 1. Now let us come to exhibit number 2. In relation to the audit completion issues discussed in exhibit number 1, you have ascertained that first, the audit partner has concluded that the fraud is immaterial and that all necessary work has been performed by the audit team. Alright. So we just discussed that fraud of $40,000 was immaterial to the $400,000 materiality level, and so it's immaterial, right? And the necessary work has been performed by the audit team. Alright. The next one says further audit procedures were successfully performed on the development cost, because we were having an issue that whether the $600,000 is all capital nature or expense nature. So all the further audit procedures were successfully performed on the development cost, and a conclusion was reached by the audit team that the recognition of the $600,000 as an intangible asset is appropriate. Okay, so they have confirmed, and the audit team has confirmed that this amount is okay. There is no issue. Okay, now the third one. A letter was received from Hamlin Co. administrators on 29th July 20x5 stating that Hamlin Co. is in liquidation. Oh my goodness. See, up till now, the fraud, the development cost, there was no issue, right? It is as per the treatment of the IAS. But the trade receivables, which was having $500,000 balance overdue from Hamlin & Co., and there was no response of the written representation sent to the clients. Now a written representation has been received, a letter has been received on 29th July 20x5 from the administrators of Hamlin & Co., in which they have stated that this company is in liquidation and that its creditors will receive a payment of 10% of the outstanding balances. Okay, so you are aware that $500,000 is overdue on Hamlin & Co. and the administrators have told that only 10% of the amount would be received by all the creditors by all the for all the outstanding balance. That is $50,000 would be received by the Goodman Group in respect of Hamlin Co. Outstanding balance. So $450,000, which is still recognized as a trade receivable, should have been written off by the company, by the group. The audit team has concluded that $50,000 can remain recognized as a trade receivable, and that $450,000 or $450,000 should be written off as a recoverable, right? The treatment is right by audit team, right? The treatment is right. That 50,000 which is supposed to be recoverable should be recognized as a trade receivable, and that $450,000 which is in excess of the amount to be received should be written off as an irrecoverable debt. Don't you think so? You can recall your accounting studies. You should recall your accounting studies. You would be well aware that this is correct, and this was concluded by the audit team, which is perfect. Now let's read further. However, the group refuses to make any adjustment and the full $500,000 remains recognized as a trade receivable in the final group financial statements. So here comes a issue. See, the audit team has concluded that $50,000 should be recognized as a trade receivable and that the remaining $450,000 should be written off as a recoverable debt, and they are perfect. They are giving the correct treatment to the company. But the group has refused to make any adjustment and they want that $500,000 should be recognized as a trade receivable in the group financial statements. This means that they are overstating the current trade receivables balance, that is the current account, that is the current assets balance, right? And they are reducing or they are under expending the profit and loss statement by $450,000. Are you agreeing with me? Do you agree? It is simple, right? Now, this was just a supplementary information provided to us after the audit has been done, but we are not aware of what. This is nothing to do with the criticism, right? We don't have to criticize on anything above right now. We have to criticize the draft auditor's report. Now let's read on. Based on the above conclusions, the audit supervisor has drafted the auditor's report. Okay, so he has taken into account the above considerations and then he has drafted the auditor's report. The audit supervisor has done this job, which includes the following extract. Okay, let's read on. Basis for opinion and opinion. First thing first, alright. The audit report should have basis for opinion and opinion paragraph as at the beginning of the audit report. Do you agree with me? Right, but you should know that first is the basis paragraph and then it comes the basis for opinion paragraph. But over here the paragraph is stated as basis for opinion and then opinion, which should have been inversed. First opinion, then basis for opinion. One thing. The second thing, they should not be in a single paragraph. These are two separate paragraphs in the audit report. So the draft audit report should not have basis for opinion and opinion as a single paragraph. Do you agree with me? Alright, now let's read the paragraph. Does it has anything to do with it? First, we have identified one mark over here, 1 point. Right, that the basis for opinion and opinion paragraph should be separate, right? Now let us read on. Audit procedures indicate that trade receivables are overstated by 500,000. Do you agree with this? I don't agree. See, 500,000 was the total trade receivable, out of which 10% is receivable on this date, and when the audit report is to be issued, 50,000, that is 10% of this amount is recoverable. The remaining 450,000 is irrecoverable. So we cannot say that the trade receivables are overstated by 500,000. Instead, the trade receivables are overstated by $450,000. I hope you agree with me. Let's read it again. Audit procedures indicate that trade receivables are overstated by 500,000. So this is the first issue. Another issue, 2 marks. Right. For this reason, we consider that the group financial statements are likely to be materially misstated. How come it should be likely to be materially misstated? Am I right or am I wrong? Think of it. I want you to think. C. The audit procedures indicate that the trade receivables are overstated by 500,000, which is a wrong figure. We just identified earlier that $450,000 is the overstatement in the trade receivables, and $500,000 is not the overstatement, is not the actual overstatement. Then comes in the next line. For this reason, we consider that the group financial statements are likely to be materially misstated. Now we just determined that $400,000 materiality level was constant, was kept the same towards the end of the audit, and $450,000 the overstatement is material to the financial statements, but over here it says is likely to be materially misstated. It's not giving a definite answer or a definite statement. Do you agree with me? Right? For this reason, we consider that the group financial statements are likely to be materially misstated and do not fairly present the financial position and performance of the group for the year ended 31st December 2024. Now, this statement and do not fairly present the financial position and performance for the group. Do you agree with this statement? Or we would say that except for this issue, the financial statements present a true and fair view, right? Or present fairly. No? We don't use negative words in the audit report. And over here, he has done two things. First, he has said likely to be materially misstated. The second, he has said do not fairly present the financial position and performance. Now, have a look. The audit report first was this heading, which was wrong. Second was this issue. Third is this issue. We have identified 3 marks up till now. Now comes in the emphasis of meta paragraph. Emphasis of meta. There are 2 matters to which we draw your attention. Okay. The audit supervisor has drafted this audit report and he is bringing attention to 2 matters in the audit report. But wait, over here, just give me a moment. Look, first was the basis for audit opinion and the audit opinion paragraph, right? Basis for opinion and the opinion paragraph, 1 mark. The second mark was for the overstatement figure. Third mark is to identify that this is likely to be materially misstated, whereas we have just concluded that this is a material misstatement. It's not likely, it is a material misstatement because $450,000 overstatement exceeds the materiality level of 400,000. I hope you are agreeing with me. Right? Then one more thing which I am supposed to tell you or I am supposed to make you recall is that basis for opinion and opinion. But over here we have concluded that the financial statements are material, and because of this materiality it should have been a qualified opinion, and because it's a qualified opinion this heading should have been qualified opinion and basis for qualified opinion. I hope you are able to recall your studies of audit report. I hope you are okay with it. Shall I proceed? Now let us come back to this paragraph, emphasis of matter. Now over here see it says we need to draw your attention to 2 matters. It is stating to the reader of the financial statements, to the reader of the audit report, to the reader of the audit report, that is the any creditor, any shareholder, any XYZ who is involved in reading the financial statements of the company, right? So the auditor is or the audit firm is reporting to 2 matters which need to be used to draw attention of the user of the financial statements, right? So first thing first, now let's read the first point. Fraud was discovered as a result of which we have determined that $40,000 was stolen from the group. This was provided to us, right? This does not impact the financial statements, but we wish to highlight the illegal activity which took place during the year. Do you think this is an appropriate wording of the audit report, or this matter should have been disclosed in an emphasis of matter paragraph to draw attention of the user of the financial statements. Think of it. I want you to think. Right? Now you need to listen. First is this, that this figure is not supposed to come in the audit report, and over here it says a fraud was discovered, as a result of which we have determined that $40,000 was stolen from the group. Now the users of the financial statements have nothing to do with this, right? The next thing, let's read the next paragraph. Next sentence. This does not impact the financial statements. Alright, we also say the same thing, but we wish to highlight the illegal activity which took place during the year. Now, what do you think about this one? Right? But we want to highlight the illegal activity which took place during the year. There is no need of highlighting this immaterial figure in the financial statements as an illegal activity, because it's not anything major and it should not have been disclosed in the auditor's report. So this sentence or this word paragraph has issues. Alright, now let's read the second paragraph, the second issue. The group finance director obstructed our audit by refusing to allow access to audit evidence. So they are telling in their audit report that the finance director obstructed our audit by refusing to allow access to the audit evidence. Do you agree with this point? No, he has not obstructed the audit by refusing to allow the access to audit evidence. Rather, he has brought in an issue, that's fine, that he has not allowed access to the audit evidence, but we would not state this directly in the auditor's report. Do you agree with me? This is totally unprofessional way of writing the audit report, right? Now let's read further. Now, he has also refused to adjust the financial statements in relation to the material misstatement of trade receivables, which led to the qualified audit opinion being issued. For this reason, we wish to resign as auditor with immediate effect. Now, what did you identify? He has also refused to adjust the financial statements. Okay, he has refused to adjust the financial statements in relation to the material misstatement of trade receivables. That is this one, 450,000, the overstatement, which led to the qualified audit opinion being issued. But we do not word our audit report in this manner. We do not do such a thing. Over here, he has done it in so many ways and he has tried to cover up the points, but I don't think this is the proper way to gain marks. You also agree with me? Do you agree? Now let's read further. For this reason, we wish to resign as auditor with immediate effect. Because of the material misstatement by the audit team or by the auditors or by the company rather, The audit team has given their resignation as an auditor with immediate effect. Do you think there is anything to be discussed? Alright, so over here we highlight this point. For this reason, we wish to resign as the auditor with immediate effect. This has nothing to do with the audit report. You are aware of this. This should have been discussed with those charged with governance rather than mentioning this in the audit report. Do you agree with me? Now let us begin critically appraising the audit report, and let me help you identify points how to draft your answer. You need to highlight those points. We highlighted our points and we would begin drafting the audit reports right now. We would critically appraise the audit report right now. Let me bring it down to the draft auditor's report so we can critically appraise the auditor's report. And since it's a critical appraisal question, you need to remember that you do not need to comment on anything else except the critical appraisal of the audit report. Nothing else. So the first thing we would say is about this basis for opinion and opinion, right? Heading. Now we would say that the report should have or should had two separate paragraphs for the opinion and basis for opinion. Right, we told that there should have been two separate paragraphs for the opinion and basis for opinion paragraph instead of the we would say instead of a single paragraph as given or as provided in the exhibit 2, right? First we made a comment on the paragraph, initial paragraph, that is the opinion and the basis for opinion paragraph. Now what we would do, we would say that the report should first begin with the opinion paragraph, then followed by that the basis for opinion paragraph, right? Simple marks. Critical appraisal has simple marks. The report should begin with the opinion paragraph followed by the basis for opinion, right? We gained 2 marks up till now. Now the next one. We need to determine the audit report is materially misstated or not. But since over here we identified that it is materially misstated, what we would do? Yes, you are right. We would change the heading for these paragraphs. Instead of basis for qualified opinion and opinion, we would say basis for qualified opinion and qualified report or qualified opinion. Now what we would do is you would say that this, you would say over here, the heading for the paragraphs should have been qualified opinion and basis for qualified opinion, because we just identified that there was a material misstatement, we qualified the opinion, right? What else can you think of? Come on, I want you to brainstorm yourself. Now let us come to the question. See, look at the wordings of this paragraphs. Is likely to be materially misstated. Don't you think we need to comment on this one first? Right? So now what we do is we first identify that this likely to be materially misstated is incorrect, and we need to give a critical appraisal for this point first. Beginning with this point, we would say you would say that the qualified opinion paragraph should the qualified opinion paragraph should be worded as except for the matters rather what we would do is that the qualified opinion paragraph should be worded as except for the matters discussed in the qualified opinion paragraphs, the or we would say except for the matters discussed in the qualified opinion paragraph, the financial statements give a true and fair view. That is, anything given in the basis for the qualified opinion paragraph, except for that the financial statements as a whole are correct or give a true and fair view. And the other thing which we were supposed to comment on was that this word, that they are likely to be materially misstated, right? So what do you think? What would we do to describe this portion? G should say that let us come to the drafting part now. the phrase we are copying the phrase financial statements are likely to be materially misstated. Right? But over here we are criticizing this report, so we should say that the financial statements are likely to be materially misstated. Does not give the phrase financial statements are likely to be materially misstated does not give we would say that the phrase financial statements are likely to be materially misstated does not give a firm conclusion, right, that has been reached, because we are unaware what is the final conclusion. And now what we could say is this could give the users a conclusion, or not a conclusion, users a doubt on the credibility of the auditor's opinion. Right? At one place we are saying that this is correct, and at the other place we are criticizing this. I hope you are agreeing with me. Now see, we have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 points have been made up till now. You are looking, having a look at this. Out of 8 marks, we have gained 6 marks. Now let us comment on the basis for qualified opinion. We just commented about the qualified opinion. Now what we can do is we can comment on the basis for qualified opinion, and we can tell what is wrong and what should have been done. We could say the basis for qualified opinion paragraph should give the reason for the modification, including a description of the financial effects of the material mistake. Right? Then what we can do is we can tell about the overall statement which was mentioned over here. We could say that this was for 50,000. We would write that the paragraph of basis for qualified opinion should have or should refer to the overstatement of the financial statements by $50,000, right? The paragraph of basis for qualified opinion should refer to the overstatement of the financial statements by $450,000. Sorry, my mistake. See, it says the matter emphasis of matter says a fraud about fraud, and that the finance director obstructed the audit. We would make use of this information and we would start making points. Let us come back over here. Now, since we determined that $40,000 was immaterial to the financial statements, but we are provided with the figures and we would make use of the figure appropriately. So what we can say is, first we could say the emphasis of matter, EOM, right? I am shortening it. Paragraph discusses two issues, right? We are given with the information about two issues, neither of which is relevant to the inclusion of this into the EOM. Now what else can we do? We could discuss these 2 points which were provided to us in the draft auditor's report, and then we can come up with the answer for this. Let us come back to the draft auditor's report. The first issue was of the fraud, immaterial fraud, and the second issue was of the finance director obstructing the audit, right? So let us draft a point for this one. We would say, firstly, the audit, or rather the EOM paragraph describes the fraud which took place during the year this matter is immaterial to the financial statements. Now let us come back to the question. Now see, the second one is that the group finance director has obstructed our audit and refused to adjust the financial statements, and for this reason he wished to resign as auditor with immediate effect. Perfect. So let us draft an answer for this one too. Now since we used firstly in the previous paragraph, we would say secondly, right? The EOM refers to the difficulties, right? To the difficulties arising we would say secondly, the EOM refers to the difficulties that arose during the audit, right? That arose during the audit. Example, the secondly, the EOM refers to the difficulties that arose during the audit. Example, the finance director refusal to provide access to the information, right? Now we could say that this matter should have been reported to the or to those charged with governance, right? Further, what can you think of more points? I want you to draft more points right now so that you are well prepared for the exam. What points can you think of? Like, look, we have already drafted how many points? Oh, amazing. See, the first paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have drafted 11 points. You are aware of this? Out of 8, for 8 marks you have drafted 11, and I can see that I can come up with another point too. That let us come to the question so that I can refer it to you too. Now see over here, the emphasis of meta paragraph tells that the finance director has obstructed the audit and he is responsible for this and like because of this is an unprofessional behavior over here by the audit senior who has drafted the audit report, right? And directly personally stating about the finance director, since he is a key management personnel, and there could be some legal actions against the company, right? So we could let us draft the audit point for this one. We can say that stating, or rather we can say referring to the finance director personally, who is responsible for the material misstatement and the modification of the audit opinion is not professional and could raise legal issues for the company. Right? We drafted another point. Now come back to the case. Now see this last sentence. For this reason, we wish to resign as auditor with immediate effect. Do you think this should have been a part of the audit report? I don't agree. See, it should have been discussed with those charged with governance rather than mentioning this in the audit report. Right? So let us draft a point. We would say the resignation by the audit firm anywhere in the audit report is not appropriate. Right? This matter should be disclosed and discussed with the with those charged with governance who will then raise the issue with the shareholders. In the question, we were provided that this step was taken by the company itself. So now let us have a look how many points we have made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have drafted 13 points for 8 marks, and this is it. I think there is no other point we can make out of this draft auditor's report, but you should consider this thing that we have drafted 13 points out of 8 marks available, and this means that there is plenty of information given in the question. You need to be able to identify the points, and you need to be able to make the answer drafting techniques, and you need to work on the drafting techniques very well. Alright. Towards the end of this video, you need to remember, greatness doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of continuous effort, boundless curiosity, and a thirst for improvement. Investing time in these videos and engaging with past AAA exam questions is an investment in the brighter future you're shaping up. Keep your focus sharp, your learning continuous, and your eyes focused on your goals. Best of luck as you navigate your studies. May your dedication lead you to success in the AAA exam.